Hey guys, Missing Pixel here. Welcome back to the third episode of looking at every Davilex Racer game. Before I start the episode, I want to backtrack a little bit back to 2002. I mainly only looked at London Racer 2 in the previous episode, since the regional Autobahn Raser 4 and Paris-Marseille Racing 2 are near enough the exact same games with different maps and music. But there are some little quirks I forgot to mention. I was a little bit surprised to see that the French game was the one to follow after London Racer 2, but there are a few signs that point to Paris-Marseille Racing 2 coming first, such as the Davilex intro being white and not black, and the fact Autobahn Raser 4 features maps from Paris, London and the US, while Paris-Marseille Racing 2 only features the London and US tracks. The next interesting thing was the change in the London track. The original game had a Kiss FM logo in Piccadilly Circus, while both games have an advertisement for Knight Rider. What is interesting however is how Paris-Marseille Racing says K2000, while Autobahn Raser says Knight Rider, although the reason why clicked in my head as of writing the script. K2000 was the French name of the show, so that's that mystery solved. Paris-Marseille has adverts for Knight Rider all around the maps too. And if Google is to be believed, Paris-Marseille Racing came out a month before the Knight Rider game, so French gamers would have had no idea why a picture of Kit is scattered throughout the game. Though Autobahn Raser 4 came out in November 2002, only a few days after Knight Rider. Few other minor changes include the removal of the 3D model of the license after you complete a cup, and new cars in both games that better fit the regional themes, with cars such as the Opel Kadett and Volkswagen Golf seen in Autobahn Raser, and Peugeot 206cc and Renault Clio V6 in Paris-Marseille Racing 2, also reused in Autobahn Raser 4. Now, let's head to 2003. In 2003, Davilex announced the closure of the internal development studio in order to shift their focus on becoming a third-party publisher. In the meantime, a Scotland-based Gamers Republic, founded by Dave Sharp, was looking at outsourcing game development all around the world, citing the creativity that smaller companies in smaller countries bring to the table. And of course, they're also much cheaper to hire than Western game developers, though he does not say that outright. But one company that Gamers Republic took on board was Media Design Group, a Polish software development company founded by Adam Marczynski. Marczynski had been cited as saying, "People in these countries don't see the work as a 9-to-5 job. They don't have so much baggage in terms of gaming history. And hey, maybe bringing a fresh team to Davilex would bring in new ideas that haven't been seen before." We'll find out shortly, but for now, let's look at the final game released by Davilex Games' internal studio, London Racer World Challenge. Frankly, there isn't much to see in World Challenge. It's a compilation of all the regional tracks in one package, plus US racer tracks, and the race course from Knight Rider. The aspect of picking up money in the tracks had been removed as there's no cash system, and instead you unlock tracks and cars. The game is fine I suppose, but it does get repetitive quickly due to the large number of leagues and repetition of tracks throughout. I spoke about this game in passing throughout the series, so there's not much new for me to add, other than to say that the London track now features an ad for Beach King, a non-racer racing game from Davilex, and the lighting has been completely overhauled. Sometimes it does look better, with a nice fog and photographic skyboxes, but other times it looks far flatter and less realistic. But you can at least change the time of day in the maps now. Speaking of maps, the London maps have cut down radios now, with no advertisements in the middle. There's also a new nitro camera, and the cars do seem to be faster when using the nitro. I believe that in the original games, the nitro got you to top speed and that's it, while in World Challenge the nitro goes past your car's top speed, and you go back to top speed once you let go of the nitro. The controls seem more responsive too, but that could be a total placebo. And now, it's time to look at the worst period of time in Davilex games, the recycled games based on third-party IPs. First up is Autobahn Raser - Spiel film. Let's start with the intro, which is just a trailer for the movie. Right, I guess I should explain. Autobahn Raser is a movie based on Davilex's IP. In fact, the movie was called A2 Racer in the Netherlands and Autoroute Racer in French, which was also the beta name of Paris-Marseille Racing 1. Das Spiel film is the game of the film of the game. Gameception, as someone in 2012 would say. Anyway, the intro has a nice pair of demonetization symbols that flash up on the screen. However, since Germany's Germany and they aren't so anal about nudity, the USK rating is only 12, presumably for the car violence in the trailers, since most other Davilex games had a rating of 6. The menu also has some movie snippets, plus some lore from the movie and its release. There's a new gameplay mode internally called Versus Mode, and in English called Chase Mode, where you have to destroy the opponent. There are also new cars, plus modifications of prior cars. The game only takes place in Germany, surprise surprise. The radio stations are gone, instead songs from the radio play without any presenters. Otherwise, it's pretty much just a cut down version of World Challenge. And here I want to thank Vladik, who not only provided me information about this and the following games, but also indirectly reminded me that this game was published on PC, since my copy of the game was mislabeled on my hard drive. Now in terms of the debug stuff, I really couldn't get the game to do anything interesting. Vladik managed to bring back some of the police cars that were left over from World Challenge, but that's mainly that. The ebook flags didn't do anything. I was ready to give up, but I tried one last string, changing the menu mode from 0 to 1. And oh boy, am I glad I did so. This is a fake menu, so called because the developers could use it to go directly into any track and game mode. And in case you are curious, yes, the fake menu also exists in World Challenge. And the car names are once again the actual car names. There's some weird ones. Snook is the Citroen DS. The limo, I think, was the Audi TT from memory. FBI van was the German Beetle police car. Something else that I forgot about this game that's interesting is that the Knight Rider test track that you see, it's the first stage in the game, the racetrack, is Nevada in this game. That isn't like a fake menu glitch. Yeah, it's actually Nevada. And back to that Spiel's on film, it's nice that we can see the exact compilation date of the game. And a little cherry on top, the names of the cars are the actual real-life names. Except for Cobra Mercedes. So that means I've done this segment out of order. Alarm for Cobra 11. This game is also only set in Germany, and has the same general gameplay as the Autobahn Raser movie game, but with the track order swapped around. I believe that there are also some new cars here, but most are taken directly from World Challenge. An interesting quirk is that choosing the German language at the start gives you an intro to the TV show, which is not the case for the English selection. I was also surprised to see character descriptions in the English language when the show never aired in the UK as far as I know. But between that and the synopsis, at least you get a general gist of the show, even if the game has literally nothing to do with the show. However, if you choose the German language, you get to see clips from the show. So anyone who played this game in English really got boned. And who would have played this game in English, now that I think about it? I don't think this was released here. Anyway, we do get a new track in this game, Cologne. This feels shockingly like a Davilex track, as opposed to a Media Design Group track. I want to thank Vladik once again, as I completely forgot that this track was new. And although his presumption that this was an unreleased track is unlikely, it also wouldn't surprise me. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. I was not able to find a PC version of this game. However, there's very little information about this game in general, with any searches that I made for this game coming up with the following title: Alarm for Cobra 11 Hot Pursuit. Instead of being forced to drive around Germany, we now get further access to the World Challenge tracks. You also get an episode guide for some reason, doesn't say which season, funnily enough, and is again pointless for anyone who couldn't access the show. We get some new cars again, and the reg plates now say 2005. Surprisingly, the radio stations are back, which alongside the movie game, were absent on the non-Hot Pursuit Alarm for Cobra. Although don't get too excited here, they are only back for the foreign maps. We also have an updated HUD, though it doesn't look all that nice personally. I would say that the menu is a mix between World Challenge and Police Madness. Thematically and font-wise it looks close to Police Madness, but everything else is like World Challenge. The blur from the Nitro cam doesn't seem as excessive as in World Challenge and other games. It feels closer to the regional titles. The game's logic also seems to hitch too. I noticed this both on the emulator and real hardware. And in terms of the PC version, we still have the fake menu, still have real car names, albeit it is a slightly different selection of cars. Oh, and we get another new track, the Highway track. This feels more like a Media Design Group track, as there are new textures and graphical effects that Davilex did not use, like transparent bitmaps to create mountains and rows of trees. And this track is also one of the tightest in any Davilex game. Despite not having a formal name, if we trust the signage, the map is supposed to take place in Bavaria. And topography-wise, yeah, this motorway is vaguely similar to the real-life counterpart. And if you had any doubt that this map was created for this game, the motorway signs even point to RTL, and the billboards are scattered with RTL logos, who are the television network behind Alarm for Cobra. London Racer Police Madness is the last Davilex published game, having been published in 2005 within the same month as Destruction Madness, if my memory serves me right. The premise of the game is simple: you just finished police college, and have begun working at the Metropolitan Police. However, your colleague is angry that due to the government cutbacks, you drive around old cars. Your colleague really wants the force to receive the MAX 903 Turbo, which can do 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. Our colleague tells us that we need to arrest as many offenders as possible, in order to make maximum profit to be able to afford the MAX. Your first mission is to collect £2,000 by finding and arresting criminals. The way you do this is by driving up to any car and pressing a button. Then you scan the license plate, wait a few seconds and find out what the criminal offence is. I say what the offence is because almost everyone in London is apparently either a thief, drunk driver or smuggler. In order to arrest the drivers, you must first play Dance Dance Revolution with them, or see who can spam the keys the fastest. Considering the arrest is supposed to be the most fun part, the fact that you have to play a boring minigame every single time you want to arrest someone is just a lazy cop-out from the devs. I mean, for the low amount of offences like running a red light, why not let us pull over the driver manually? And then for serious offences, just go straight into the shootout. The shootout, you say? Yes. If you fail to do the minigame properly, you get to have a shootout, where after activating your colleague with a button, you get a chance to shoot at the offenders. It's funny that this obviously more fun game mode is the punishment for failing the minigame. To be honest with you, there's been times I've failed the minigame on purpose, just so I could shoot the shit out of people. Just make sure that you don't shoot or crash into innocent civilians, as you will get told off. There are two cars that you start with. The first car I believe is a Vauxhall Corsa, while the others very well may be a Vauxhall Omega and a Rover 400. Other missions from the game include pickup missions, where you must drive to multiple locations as quickly as you can, arrests, where you see the cars that you must arrest on the minimap and shoot at them until they give up, and hunts, where you have to find smugglers. Because they are not shown on the minimap, the first time I played this game I was completely lost, as almost everyone I scanned was just regular traffic and not a smuggler. I later realised a pattern. Every smuggler in every mission is yellow. Yep. The devs made it easier for themselves to playtest these missions by making the cars easily identifiable. It's not due to any technical reason, since the type of car changes. Unless they did it to make the game easier, I'm not sure. Either way, with the fact there are only a handful of mission types, the game does tend to get boring after the first 8 or so missions. However, thankfully there are only 48 missions, and since playing the game is mind-numbingly easy, you don't really need to pay any attention when playing the game. As you progress through the game, you unlock new guns, new cars, faster equipment, and new cities to explore. By default, London, Paris, and an Autobahn by Dortmund is unlocked. However, as you progress through the game, you unlock a country road in the UK, driving past the fictional town called Thornbridge, and past the fictional hall called Brighttail Hall, ending up at Salmon Bay. You also unlock a track in southern France, likely Marseille, and an Autobahn by Munich. All of these maps are completely new, and I think they are gorgeous. It's such a shame that it took this late into the life of Davilex games for new maps to be created. And yeah, all of these tracks are created in the style of the highway map from Hot Pursuit, with there being any lack of distant detail, instead using bitmap walls. We also get new cars I believe, as well as many reused World Challenge cars. We also get a really sweet soundtrack. Yep, once again, there was real effort in creating this game, with no music reused from the prior games. Back to the gameplay, you have unlimited nitro, and when you use it, your car's siren gets activated and the AI cars move out of your way, which is nice. You have a recklessness meter that goes up if you hit traffic cars, or when you are in a shootout the bad guy shoots you. There is a bit of physics and logic jank in this game, which makes for some short amusing events, in between the rather easy and boring gameplay. With the English language, we also get some amusing, cringy dialogue, although you'll hear the same voice clips over and over again.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Let's take a look at the PC game then. For the first time in forever, we finally have a Davilex game that is not capped at 25 FPS. Although it doesn't seem to run all that hot, and this is on a PC that's 3 years newer than the game. In case you were curious, I tried copying and pasting the fixed frame rate string to Hot Pursuit, but the game was still capped. I suppose the game isn't programmed to see it. We also see that Police Madness was built on top of the Hot Pursuit codebase, by the fact that the title of the game had not changed. We still get the fake menu, and oh look, the maps actually say Media Design Group on them. And oh look, London has relocated to the USA. Also, it seems that the physics on PC are even jankier than on PS2, with your car randomly going over jumps that were never there. And just to get back to Vladik's point, the maps in Police Madness have internal Polish names for the castle, fence, grass, etc. But the Cologne track from earlier does not, though the map reuses a lot of assets from other German maps, so the explanation behind that map is still up in the air. Also, before we conclude, let me bring up a fact that I wrote and then never actually included in any of my prior videos. With a lot of PS2 games, when emulating, you can see the debug log. I believe that this is due to the usage of Sony's libraries, which makes it easier to develop your games on the PS2. With US Racer, you are able to see exactly which files the game loads in. And with games like Police Madness and World Challenge, you only see an output when the engine isn't able to locate a file that it should. With how many errors the game has put out, it's a miracle they even work. And thus, that concludes the third episode. As well as missing Knight Rider, you may have noticed I missed Destruction Madness. That will get its own dedicated video, due to the sheer number of facts and trivia surrounding that game. So make sure you stay subscribed so you don't miss it. Anyway, thank you for watching.